Hello, everyone. This is Mike Regan here with another edition of the Regan Rant for February 24th, 2010. And I guess it was yesterday I just saw the news. I don't know how reputable this is, but it makes sense. South Peak, who is the publisher behind the PSP version of TNA Cross the Line and Nintendo DS version, is reportedly working on the Xbox 360 and PS3 version of TNA Impact Cross the Line, which is the sequel to TNA Impact. Reportedly, they're basically taking, what Midway was working on at the time of TNA Impact, I'm sorry, TNA Impact 2, and bringing it forward with a new game with new characters and new features. It's supposedly going to be using, it's going to have 35 wrestlers, the six making a debut of the six sides of steel, and it's also going to feature a four-sided ring, which is interesting. I think um, my main issue with TNA Impact, I mean, graphically the game looks amazing. Gameplay-wise, I mean, it wasn't the best wrestling game, but then again, it wasn't the worst either. And for a first game, what is in there was pretty impressive. If you think about it, I mean, the animations and reversals were really well done. I was really impressed with that, and I'm looking forward to seeing, what South Peak is doing with it. Now, here's my question though: Is South Peak simply taking what Midway already had up to that point, polishing up a little bit, maybe fixing the things that were broken, and releasing the game as is? Then there might be a problem there. But if they're actually taking what Midway had already, improved upon it, uh, actually learn from the mistakes that TNA Impact the first game made, and actually listen to the feedback from the fans about TNA Impact and what the reviewers and had to say about the game, then TNA Impact, or I'm sorry, TNA Trust the Line might be a contender. Um, I'm gonna hold judgment on this. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with TNA Impact. I really didn't. I mean, it wasn't a bad game. I know a lot of people were talking about it and saying it wasn't a good game and blah blah blah. And and my biggest complaint with that game was its depth. There wasn't really a lot going for it once once you played the story. I mean, and that's it. I mean, there wasn't really a lot of modes. And unfortunately, there wasn't really a lot of wrestlers. I mean, if you look at this the SmackDown series, they have 60 or 50, 65 guys and Davis, and TNA Impact didn't have that. And then it had to fall back on its gameplay, which unfortunately for a first time wrestling game, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't comparable to what SmackDown was and is. Um, yeah, so I'm looking forward to covering that some more on the site. Interesting enough, uh, I saw the review of TNA Impact I'm sorry, TNA Cross the Line for the PSP, and they gave it, I believe it was 3 out of 10. Um, Not a very great score, and not very, that's not very assuring to say the least. Um, Again, I haven't played TNA Crossline, so I'm holding off judgment on it. From what I know, it's basically TNA Impact on your PSP. So, and I think also part of it maybe because besides, South Peak doesn't have the greatest history when it comes to releasing games, and at least well-received games for that matter. I think the last game that I remember them doing was Two Worlds, which was an absolute disaster. It was horrible. So let's keep our fingers crossed on TNA Cross the Line for the Xbox 360 and PS3. Um, I get this a lot. Um, People ask me, everybody has a favorite console, everybody has a favorite game, and I get people asking me all the time what my favorite console is. And honestly, I mean, I really don't have one. I mean, I have the Wii, which I mean I haven't used that much to be honest. I mean I played my share of Mario. I played my share of Just Dance, which is I mean I still haven't put the video of me dancing on it, but I played that game, and I've also I have a PS3 and I have a 360. Um, and each game system has its problems. Each game system has its successes. But honestly, I think if you're going to be a gamer and you're going to call yourself a gamer, and you're a hardcore gamer at least, you're honestly going to need all three consoles to do that, because there are experiences that can only be done on their particular consoles. Like for example, Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain is a PS3 exclusive title, and I dare say that the Xbox 360 could not do Heavy Rain as that game is. For one, it doesn't have the motion controls that with the six-axis movement that that the PS3 has. And for one, I mean, just the storage space alone. I mean, I just don't see Xbox 360 being able to handle that. So with that being said, I'm I'm a fan of all, and that's what I recommend people doing if you want to consider yourself a hardcore gamer. Um, um, well, at the site now. This past week, I've decided that we're going to do something differently with the podcast. Um, every Friday, we've been doing a podcast, and you should check it out if you haven't already. The GR8 podcast, and basically what we're going to be doing is we have a group of people who are pretty much dedicated to doing a podcast, and each of the people have their likes and dislikes and their specialties, so to say the least. With that being said, we're going to be doing two podcasts. One podcast, which will be hosted by Ransting, along with Matt Black and Nick Moore and Scott Sankowski, whatever his name is, Scott. They're going to be doing the wrestling / MMA podcast, which will be on the site Wednesday morning, Wednesday-ish. And it'll be recorded Tuesday night, right after WWE NXT. And we're also going to still be doing a video game podcast, the GR8 podcast. Both of them will be the GR8 podcast, but it's just different casts, different topics. The video game podcast will be myself, Brad Ward, Sam West, and Stan Morris, and we'll be doing that podcast Friday night like we usually are, and it'll be on the site late Saturday or early Saturday morning, Friday night, late Friday night. But yeah, so be sure to check those two podcasts out. Anyway, one of the reasons why the decision to be doing that was because there was kind of a problem and an issue of managing 7 people on one podcast at the same time. It became a little crazy, and it was kind of hard to follow because you had so many voices and so many people trying to get their point across, and some people were a bit more knowledgeable about certain subjects on the podcast than others. And like I said, I'm not the biggest UFC fan. I mean, I watch it. I mean, if it's on, I watch it. But I mean, I don't know the win-loss record of, say, Frank Mir, or or his backstory, or what his specialty is. I can enjoy the athleticism, I can enjoy the contest, but I don't know the specifics like I would for wrestling, or in some regards video games. So with that being said, be sure to check out the podcast. We've had a ton of updates on the site lately, so be sure to check them all out. There's a lot of good stuff there. Also, be sure to check out basically the videos and screenshots that we've added to the wrestling game database. We've added stuff basically on a daily basis. So if you have any questions, suggestions, and comments, please feel free to email me. My email address is mike@gamingread.com, and I'd love to hear from you. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.